What's up, guys? Today we're going to talk about how you can use pop-up surveys to increase your conversion rate. It doesn't matter if you're an e-commerce store, if you run Magento, if you run SaaS businesses, this will all help. It's one of my go-to methods for increasing conversion rate for my clients. In fact, I've seen 30, 40, 50% increases in conversion rate using this method in order to come up with new ideas for what to A/B test and what to split test. So let's just dive straight into it. I'm going to share my screen so you can see how I set it up, how I use Hotjar, but you can use other alternatives out there, but this is just to simplify and so we can dive straight into it. All right, so I'm sharing my screen here and we're going to log into Hotjar. Hotjar can do a lot of things like session recordings. They can also do surveys like what I'll show you today, but you can use other softwares like Mouseflow and Full Story. There's just so many out there. Let's dive in. So I open up a client here and we can actually see that I'm inside of the module called surveys, and you can see there's a lot of different things you can do. You can do funnels, you can look at recordings, heat maps, scroll maps, and you can even do user interviews. But we're going to look at surveys because it's my go-to method. And on a survey, basically when you come in here, you just want to click new survey. You can browse templates or you can start from scratch, right? So let's start from scratch just to make it super easy. We'll get all these different options here. Details, type, and questions. Under details, you can just name it something. So in this case, I would name it like pop-up survey, user, let's call it conversion blocker. Because basically what we're doing with this survey is to ask them what's holding them back at that dying moment when, you know, they're trying to bounce off the website. They're not buying for some specific reason. So we want to ask them what is holding them back from buying our product, right? So we're just going to use that. Then you have different options here. You can do a pop-up, a button, embedded, link, full screen. I like to do a pop-up because it's less invasive. And we found that works the best for all our clients, right? So we're going to click on that one. On mobile, obviously, will show up here in the end. So click done. And then we're going to go straight to questions and we'll ask the right questions. So here you could just ask for a reaction, like how did you rate your experience? That's terrible. You will not get any good results here. So I like either long text answer or short text answer, depending on exactly how much they need. I usually think a short text is fine because you can still type enough. Like, how would you rate your experience? I would then change that. It doesn't have to be that question. I would rate, is there anything holding you back from buying our products today, right? And then basically that is as open a question as it can be. I'm not even typing in the product they're browsing because you might have tons of SKUs. I'm saying products because there can be several things they're basically considering. And then after that, you can just leave it there, or you can ask them additional questions. You can give them a thank you message. Another thing could be, for example, you could say in the second question, would you like for us to get in touch with you to resolve your issue, right? And then you could ask people to leave an email. So in this one, you would say like email here. And then basically, if it's something like my discount coupon is not working or I didn't know about the return policy, then you can convert those leads to customers so easily. And no one is doing this. So it's a pretty good hack that you should be doing. So you just change it to email. And then basically the second question is, would you like us to get in touch with you to resolve your issue? If they say yes, then there's email, right? So that could be your second question. But just keep it simple for now. We'll just have the first one here. And yeah, you're basically done. The thank you message is fine. And you can click done, right? The next one is targeting. So do you only want to show it on desktop, tablet, or mobile? I like to do all three. And then I don't want to put it on all pages because I want to put it on a specific product page. So in this case, you might have URL contains and you'll take something from the website that's related to a product page. So if you go to any website, it would just be my old e-commerce store, just as an example. We're going to go on a product page and we're going to look for something. Well, we could use /products. So we know they're on a product page if it's a /products URL. And then we can use that as the URL contains. And then basically it will only be shown there. You could also go and say, you know what, I also want to show it at checkout. If they're being held back at checkout, then I might also want to do that. I'm just going to add something to back. Yes, if we can get that to perform. So checkout could just be like that. And then we also catch them on checkout as well. That's really important as well, because obviously a lot of people get stuck at checkout for whatever reason. And then you can exclude surveys on specific URLs. So that could be specific products or just like exceptions for this. So that's quite useful as well. All users, yes, traffic coverage. So this is interesting. If you don't want to interfere with a lot of people, like you have a lot of traffic, then you could lower this down to say 30% or whatever. You don't have to run 100%. But for most clients that are smaller, it just makes sense to go 100% because you're going to get a lot more traffic. Now, keep in mind the way we'll set this up, you don't actually have to annoy every person because we're only going to show it to people that are about to bounce off anyway. By the way, before we go any further with this video, if you find this useful, I would super appreciate if you would like the video, if you would subscribe, or if you comment on it, because it makes a huge difference for me. Take a lot of time to record this video. So if you do like it, please do subscribe and it'll be super helpful. And by the way, if you want to try out Hotjar, you can check them out in the link below. Again, it's a really good software, but there's other alternatives. As I mentioned, Mouseflow, Full Story, and the list goes on and on and on. The reason why I just like Hotjar is because it's super easy to set up and I don't want all the fluff. I don't want all those extra features I don't need. I just want to pay for things that actually move the needle. So check it out below in the link if you want to check them out. But obviously you can use any tool that can do the same thing as well. All right, back to the actual setup here. So we'll go next here because we got everything figured out, and then we have the timing. This is huge. This is where a lot of brands really go off. They get away from what actually needs to get done. It says immediately after the page loads by default, and that's completely wrong. And if you do that, you're going to annoy a lot of people. So what we want to do is we want to put it up based on a delay. So here is a really good one for desktop. When a user is about to abandon the page on the desktop version, that's really good. That's the best way because they can kind of understand it. But on mobile, you definitely want to set it up after delay on the page. So what you go and do right now is you go to your analytics and look at the average duration on product pages. How long do they stay on product pages? And basically, if it's 25 seconds, you want to launch it around 24 to 25 seconds. And that's the best way to catch all your mobile users. And the mobile users is going to be like 99% of your traffic anyway. So definitely put it based on a delay and not based on immediate load. If you want to go an extra step, you can even do 2 surveys, one for mobile, you set it up with a delay, another one for desktop, and you set it up with this one. So that way you get even better settings. And that's what we do for our more advanced users because they want to have that perfect settings no matter what device people are on. And unfortunately, Hotjar doesn't allow you to say on mobile, I want this behavior setting, and on desktop, I want this behavior setting. The way around that is you do 2 surveys and you click off one for desktop, you set up everything, and then you clone it, and then you do it for mobile, but you change the behavior settings. So basically, that's how you do it. We're just going to do it for simplicity for 24 seconds and only on product and cart checkout pages. And then if you wanted to go even further, by the way, you could set this up for mobile on desktop and mobile on product pages, clone everything, then do the same for checkout and find the average duration on checkout. And then you just set up a setting that obviously it should only show 1 pop-up per session so that it doesn't spam you with pop-ups everywhere. So that's how you get super targeted at the end of it. Now you can forward responses, and the way we do it at Purple Fire is that we have an automation that loads it into a Google Sheet, and then we have all the answers, and then we use OpenAI and something called Noticeable as an extension to analyze the answers, and then we get some really amazing things we can do with that. We can basically analyze what are the 10 reasons why people are not buying, and so forth and so forth. So this is the best way to do things if you want to scale up. We also need to talk about appearance really quickly. So right now it looks like this, which is super easy, very clean, and it will pop up like this on mobile. So really easy to disable. You can change the colors here. So if you want it to stand out a little bit, you can go like something like this. We've seen a little bit higher click-through rate on the surveys when you add a different color than what the background of the website is. So for example, here it's very white, it's very light. So if you want a higher click-through rate, like let's just imagine on a product page, if you want a high click-through rate here on the pop-up survey, you don't want to use a white background because it's going to kind of fade in with the rest, and you definitely don't want that. So we'll go straight back to here, and we will use another color because the background of the website is white. And the button color, again, it's not super important, but you definitely want to style it a little bit. Use a different color that stands out will get you more clicks basically. But basically you can do anything you want here to style it a little bit. Position, we usually like to do it, well, on desktop in the bottom right corner or the bottom left corner. You can really do anything. Logo is always nice. You can hide the Hotjar branding if you don't want it to be there, just so it looks a little bit cleaner. But honestly, I don't think that it makes any difference at all. So basically that was it. We have all our targeting here. We have it as inactive. You can put it as active, obviously, when you're going to run it. It's really important. And yeah, you're basically good to go. I think this is such a good way to do things. Let me just show you quickly what happens when you're done. So you get here, you can see we did it for a client. There's 250 answers. And you can, even inside of Hotjar, get some pretty quick findings if you don't have AI capabilities. So basically, it'll give you all kinds of things like it can understand the sentiment, how many of them were negative. You will see a ton of negatives because we're asking people what's holding them back. So it tends to be negative. And usually you not get a lot of positive because positive things don't hold people back from buying, right? And then people will usually say their answer. And it's very, very normal in this word cloud that will kind of analyze everything that this is the biggest issue. Now, price is not always the biggest issue in itself. Is because they're not bought on the product yet. They're not convinced why they should buy it, and then the price appears to be too high when you're not really sold on the product 100%. But what I could easily do without even analyzing it with AI and all these things that we do is I could say, okay, if price is the biggest issue, do I have an ability to split the payment? Do I have payment providers that allow you to delay your payment, split the payment? And is that visible on the product page where people are clearly not buying into the product? I also do other things like I could give people rewards so that the price comes with benefits. I could also give them a free shipping. I could give them an upsell like a freebie. So other things that make the price seem more reasonable because of all the other things you get. It could also be that you're selling an expensive bag. This is sort of like a diaper bag or something for parents. And it's a fancy one, by the way. And what I could do is I could bundle it up and say, you know what, this month when you buy the bag, you get an extra something and it shows clearly. And suddenly, and you show the value of that, like $30 for free because of some bundle. That could help me reduce this reason why people are not buying. And there's also other things we saw specifically, and that was just from the easy reading of all the surveys, that coupons, a lot of people have problems with coupons not working. So apparently a lot of people are going out of their way to find coupons because it's so expensive. So what could be an interesting A/B test is also to run some, let's say, a chat that automatically, as one of the pre-made answers in the chat, says, click here if you want to see the best available discount at this moment. That could be a cool way to trigger people to find that reward or that coupon that is the best on the market right now. Shipping is an issue, so you could also deal with that in many different ways, offer different shipping methods and so on. So anyway, this was a long tutorial, but there's just so much interesting data you can analyze from it. Soon we're going to do one where we show all the answers and all the takeaways and the ideas and A/B tests you might be able to run from this. So anyway, hopefully this was useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe if this was something you want to see more of. Bye.